Please, we will stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have the minutes of August 19th mailed. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes as mailed? Approval. Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We have the discussion of the approval of claims.
Move it.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Human Resources, approval of memorandum of transactions. I will pass that around for signatures.
I move on them.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item B is the courthouse security safety policy discussion and action. Ed, you want to talk about that for us?
We had put together the Woodbury County Courthouse Safety and Security Policy. Does have the blessings of the judges and the county attorney and those folks. They've all had a hand in reviewing it. There are some typos that we'll have to correct, some capitalizations, but it's a nice thing about having attorneys look at this that you always get a thorough exam.
Yes, you do.
So we'll have those corrected in two.
Okay, good.
This is part of the resolution is also being presented to make that available. And
I did an email go out to all the staff, or how are you going to present the policy? Just it's available, or
email everybody in the county, and we'll also send printed copies for secondary roads in those places that don't have computer access.
Okay, good.
I'd move on.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, item, I thought we had
One more.
discussion of the, I guess it's on there twice, use by force policy.
The use by force policy, Marty is a big part of that. We put that together along with Joshua, and so we've...
Well, we need a motion on that too, I believe.
You want it?
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Wow. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Brown, Emergency Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to make sure that I acknowledge Dan Moore from the City Council is here as well.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Good to have you
Hi,
here.
Dan.
You're not dumping any more water on anybody, are you?
I'd like to thank the Supervisors for accepting the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
You're welcome.
I didn't realize you got drenched so bad until I actually saw it.
It was a shock.
I'm so thank you for showing up.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
The item
Gary?
today comes forward to the board as a part of continuing discussions between Woodbury County and the City of Sioux City and its neighbors on ways to collaborate, try to share resources, look for ways to improve efficiencies within local government. It takes the same flavor as when we built the Security Institute, when we created the Joint Emergency Operations Plan that now involves all the cities, the Joint Hazard Mitigation Plan, our 911 Center, and the STARCOM radio system. So it's in that same cooperative vein that we're talking about today. Siouxland Paramedics is under contract with the City of Sioux City to provide emergency 911 ambulance service to the City of Sioux City. And one of the provisions within Siouxland Paramedics contract is for the city to subsidize Siouxland Paramedics up to, in the last contract period, $180,000. Woodbury County, the citizens of rural Woodbury County and the towns in Woodbury County benefit from this contract the City of Sioux City has, but we haven't in the past participated in the oversight of or management or finances or anything with Siouxland Paramedics. And the city is asking that not just Woodbury County, but some of the other surrounding jurisdictions will be asked to help with the cost of that subsidy. EMS is It's non-for-profit. Siouxland Paramedics is a non-for-profit organization. It's owned by the hospitals through Health Inc. With Medicare, Medicaid, and Title 19 reimbursements. When you get into the billing for your services, it's a 50-60% of what you bill, you collect kind of thing. So it's not a money-making operation. We really would like the board to consider a request to help with that subsidy up to a maximum of $35,000. That will keep Siouxland Paramedics available to our region or our area of Woodbury County. For the next years, Sioux City is in the contract negotiation period right now with Siouxland Paramedics to extend their contract for another year. We have 3 recommendations to the board. One is to participate in the subsidy to a maximum of $35,000. We believe that sends a message to everybody in the region that we've got an issue and we all need to work together on it. 2 is we would have a seat on Siouxland Paramedics' advisory board. And 3, that a task force be formed to really put their shoulder behind this EMS issue and address it. We have over 10,000 requests here in Woodbury County for 911 and emergency medical services through the different services out there. Things aren't getting better for the volunteer squads. Last year in the state of Iowa, we lost another 500 EMTs that chose not to recertify. And we're not seeing the numbers coming into the classes. So our response times are going up. The time it takes us to get from 911 call to an ambulance en route. And it really is it's a situation, the time has come that we all need to gather in a room and work on this. We've had great cooperation from the Siouxland Paramedics, from Karen and the new director, Brian. Great cooperation from Sioux City Fire and the city of Sioux City. And that's the request that we have for the board today. And I'll just take any questions you have because I know you have a set time item coming up.
Well, we've got a little time yet. Gary, I support everything that you've said here. This has been of the topics of discussion that I have had, and also Dennis Butler and the city manager and the department head over there, finance director, and the assistant. One of many subjects, and this one is really crucial because it does provide, service to our unincorporated areas out there that is diminishing, and it's diminished substantially because we don't have the volunteers any longer. And I didn't realize that we were getting that kind of a service from Siouxland ambulance services out there in the rural area. And it's just wonderful that it is because we face a lot of huge distances out there, and we have individuals that have volunteered in the past, and they're still volunteering, but a lot of these volunteers are now working in the community. They don't have the time or in the logistics won't allow them to do the jobs that they volunteered to do. And it's reaching a point of, I won't say crisis, but I think this is a kind of long-range planning that we need to do to provide a more safe and secure situation for the residents of Woodbury County.
Almost without exception across the state of Iowa, this is a challenge for jurisdictions across the state. Just got an email yesterday. I've been emailing back and forth with Story County. They're dealing with the same strike. It's not only just across Iowa, it's across the United States. I just got an article yesterday. The state of Texas has gone from 300,000 volunteer firefighters to 70,000.
Wow.
I mean, that's a dramatic decrease in the resource that's out there. We're seeing the same thing. We just can't quantify the numbers in Iowa like Texas has been able to. But I will tell you that Senator Jeff Danielson from Mason City, and retired Senator Tom Hancock have been holding hearings on the eastern side of the state on this issue, and they have actually offered to come over and hold hearings here to try to gather public input on what the legislature could do this next session to help. So,
well, one of the other things that's happening too, specifically and directed to us, is that this is putting more of a burden on you as emergency services director. I mean, the rural community is having to depend on you more for some of these services that they used to have with the volunteers. So we need to, as a community, come together and do some further planning down the road. This only, as you say, supplements the need, but it doesn't completely resolve the problem. Larry?
I agree with what you're saying, Gary. We've got Dakota County on here for a big number as well. So is this going to be spread out?
Well, There's a lot of math behind it. North Sioux pays already some, South Sioux already pays some. And I think what you'll see is from this action today, if the board approves my request today, this will give the conversations that have already started in several of these other jurisdictions for them to participate as well. And that's why we're asking for that maximum of $35,000. It could be less as we move forward. But I think Woodbury County and Sioux City have a good cooperative working relationship. We have a good relationship with SPI, and somebody needs to put their shoulder behind this and start pushing it. And I think that's part of the action that you're taking today is to help us do that.
This is a one-year commitment.
This is a one-year commitment. What we're asking for is to form a task force to come back over the next year to both the City of Sioux City, the City Council, and as well as the Board of Supervisors and the other jurisdictions, both in Woodbury County and the surrounding area. How can we do something with this issue? How can we make EMS better? We have to figure out what are our standards and what do we want to operate from, and then develop a plan to do that.
Who will sit on the task force?
I think right now it's going to be Brian Jacobson, the new director of Sioux Paramedics. Tom Everett and I kind of already have been talking and having a lot of conversations, and we really haven't started reaching out to anybody, but we want to get past today's action, and then we would bring back a list of who we think needs to be a part of that conversation.
Just to solve the problem, just kicks it down the road a ways.
There are, yes, you're
We have towns out there that shut down their fire and rescue from 8 to 5.
It's tough. Daytime hours are tough in Woodbury County. And daytime hours in Woodbury County, everybody thinks 8 to 5 is daytime hours when people are at work. The farther you get away from the metro area, the earlier daytime starts. You go to Hampton, Iowa, daytime starts at 3 a.m. If a volunteer takes a call at 3 a.m. for a sick person and brings him to Sioux City, he's late for work. He or she is late for work. Because it's a 3-4 hour commitment once you get in the back of that ambulance. By the time you get back to Hampton, Iowa, you work in Sioux City, shower, drive back to Sioux City for work, you're late for work. So daytime hours shift based on where you go in the county. This is an issue that's only getting worse, and the fire service isn't far behind EMS.
Well, what this
EMS is
Yeah.
the volume that they do.
Well, what this does, I mean, it brings it up on a higher priority list for us to start dealing with now, and it's a result of our collaborative meetings with the city, because I was not aware that those services were being provided by Sioux Land Ambulance Services outside of Sioux City. I really was not. And after several meetings and getting the data that you've just presented here, I realized then that we've got to do something more than what we're doing, and this is, I think, a great start for that.
And of those 88 calls Sioux Land Paramedics helped us out with last year, those are critical patients. Those are trauma, those are cardiac, those are unconscious parties. And what we're seeing now is people are sicker longer before they call 911. So people who should have went to the clinic at 2 o'clock in the afternoon are waiting until 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're extremely ill and calling 911. Or they've waited.
We're getting pretty close to time to that right now. Dan, do you have anything to say? And then I want to go to Dennis to see where we're going to get the $35,000 to start this process.
Sure. I'll try my best to be brief, but also...
I know how you attorneys are.
You just go on and on, don't we? But, no, thank you for your consideration of this. I think it's a really good cooperative program. I like the idea of the task force to address Supervisor Monson's comments. This will shed a lot of light on what hasn't been before. I know when I went through the budget process in January, and of course, Larry warned me about the budget process and said, hold on. But I didn't realize a lot of what was involved with the Sioux Land Paramedics as well and the program that they have. So this is really good for the city and the county, and to get the other entities, municipalities involved in the program. But the task force will also shed a lot of light on where we've been, where we are today, and where we're headed. So I think it's really a great idea.
Thank you.
I appreciate the supervisors considering it. And too bad it's coming on the heels of dumping water on you.
That was a hot
I'm
day.
sorry you missed that.
I'm not.
I was asked. Somebody did ask me. They said, "Well, you challenged the board of supervisors. Was that because you really wanted to get them wet, or because you backed the program?" I said, no, it truly was backing the program. Although Larry think of you for a second. No. But
Okay.
this is a great plan. I hope you give it consideration, vote for it, and I appreciate what Gary has done.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dennis, comment from you on how we're going to, we might,
Actually, the funding will come out of general supplemental fund, it'll come out of cash reserves, it'll come out of the EMS department, where we do the tax allocations. We will,
Can't we take it out of lost funds?
you could,
We've got,
it's for economic development, basically, and I don't know if you can consider this economic development. It is a one-time deal, except after they go through the task force, there's potential that we'll be involved with a lot of other counties and the city down the road as the task force figure out how our shares will figure out. But for this year, they come out of reserves, we're also going to have some savings in the general supplemental fund that we could possibly take those savings and apply it to emergency services, ambulance, SPI.
Larry.
I think we should go ahead and vote on this. I'd like to get together with Denny on.
Okay, and we can figure out
We figure funding.
one or two sources. Okay. All right. Well, let's, I'll entertain a motion one way or the other, ladies and gentlemen, on support or non-support of it.
Motion to support.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? We haven't designated yet. No. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. We're at our time set area. That was just perfect. Item 5 is the public hearing of a sale of property, and it's 036600 located at 1011 and a half Jennings Street. Is there anyone here to oppose or support the sale of that piece of
Thank you for allowing me to come. We have received the most recent report regarding the taxes assigned on our property on 1105 28th Street, and I'm requesting abatement of those taxes.
Is there a motion, gentlemen, ladies?
Motion to abate.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, Marion.
Thank you very much.
Building services, discussion and decision on awarding of the bids for fire alarm services. Good morning, Mark.
I have made a decision between Electric Innovation, Stokes Electric, and Lewis Electric, and I've decided to go with Lewis Electric.
Okay.
They are the cheapest.
And what was that? What was the amount for that bid?
$98,900.
Okay.
That's all three buildings, and we do plan on immediately starting on the law enforcement center's fire alarm system because we do have some problems there.
Okay.
We're working on them. We're going to replace it right away.
All right. Very good.
Do you remember what the other two bids were, Mark? Well, I know Electric Innovations was most. I could see that.
The other bid was, let's see,
Stokes. You got Stokes there? Oh, there it is.
well, it's broke down.
Broke down. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Okay. Discussion? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get that done. Let's go on to item with the county engineer. There was an item that was not put on the agenda, but it was advertised in the papers and all the legal documents, and we did check with our attorneys to see if we could keep it on the agenda for discussion and decision today. He said that we could do that, and this is the road vacation of Stoddard Avenue and the alley. Mark, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I apologize for not getting this on the agenda, but we did have it published in the
Oversight on our
papers
part.
of general circulation. We also sent out the required legal notices by certified mail to the affected landowners by these two closures.
Now, is this a public hearing on this item? And
Yes.
see if there's anyone to speak for or against the vacations?
That is correct.
All right.
We have three items that are being considered today for vacation. I'll just give a brief introduction to both of them. The board has copies of these on their desk. The first one is to vacate a 16-foot wide alley lying between lots 1 through 29 and 30 through 34 of Block 44 Morningside 2nd Edition. This is not the first time we've had issues with this area come before the Board of Supervisors. This is the area that lies immediately south of Menards and the old Cornerstone building. In 2013, we vacated a portion of Stoddard Avenue to join two lots that were owned by a single owner. They had their alley built in the middle of Stoddard Avenue. In this case, with the one at the south end, this alley cuts through those two blocks. The property is in an estate, and they're seeking to sell that. It makes it difficult for them to give a clean bill of sale when part of the buildings lie within public right-of-way. All of these right-of-ways were never developed or used by the county. This was platted in 1899 as it was annexed by the city of Sioux City. The city later de-annexed this entire area, putting it back in the county, and it never developed. Even the streets didn't follow the original plans of the plat. Decatur Avenue that you see on the second plat that shows the Stoddard Avenue and Morningside area runs diagonally through lots. When the city de-annexed it, it somewhat became a free-for-all out there with where things were built and how that area developed. It's primarily farm ground or pasture with a scattered number of dwellings that are owned by assorted property owners. The second one is vacate Stoddard Avenue lying between blocks 34 and 35 and the 16-foot alleys in those two blocks as well. The third one is to vacate all of Morningside Avenue, also in the area that's contained between the right-of-way at Decatur Street and then the east side of Block 34. And with that, that's kind of my introductory remarks on vacation.
Okay, I think we have someone to speak either for or against this vacation. Give your name, sir.
Yeah, Dave Boot, 1900 Decatur. Block 34 and 35 are part of a small farm I've owned since 1990. The platting is originally platted 1891, and I'd like to retain the platting because the realtors tell me there's a value to it. And the property will eventually be developed, I'm pretty sure, because the city has plans out there, and it's close to Spring Creek. And there are new construction taking place and will be taking place immediately west of my property there. So I'd like to retain the platting in Block 34 and 35.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Blue. Anyone else to be heard? Anyone else? I entertain a motion to close the hearing on the vacation.
Move to close the hearing.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right.
Which one did you just close?
We closed on all of them.
All of them, including Stoddard.
Oh, I thought we just closed on the hearing.
Well, did we need to have?
It's separate resolutions for each.
Well, then.
Just because I wasn't sure which way it might go, because I knew there was an objection.
Mr. Blue, you were talking about specifically Decatur?
No, Stoddard.
Stoddard, okay. Okay, so we should probably have the motion
What
on.
about the alleys?
Well, retaining the alleys also.
Retain the alleys as county right of way?
34 and 35, yes. It's developable property, according to the railroad.
This is right of way that the county would never plan to open or develop. I think it's highly likely when we're looking at 30 and 25-foot wide lots that these properties would be replatted if ever developed. I'm not sure that the Morningside East subdivision, I see John's here, I'll put him on the spot. I don't believe that they meet our current subdivision requirements, and I doubt very much that they would also meet Sioux City's. This property is right away, again, that the county would never have intention of opening. Stoddard to the north of Vine Street, if you look at that plat, is already closed. which would leave us a short stub of Stoddard from the north end to the south end of blocks 34. I have difficulty seeing where this is any kind of an advantage, and don't see where, even if it was developed, we put the price of that improvement of the street upon the subdivider, not upon the county tax rates.
Okay.
My recommendation is we close as proposed.
Okay. Mr. Blute, you want to speak to the closures of the alleys then?
Well, the street and the alley, Stoddard and the alleys in block 34, 35. A future developer, I'm sure we could do marvelous things with that. I've had interest in the past years, and I've not gone ahead with anything. And I probably never will, but I'm sure a developer would, because of the location.
Sure. What about Morningside Avenue here? That's
Morningside Avenue is so steep that it cannot be used as find my objection to the. I have no idea what we're talking about. The access from Garrison.
it's impossible.
And it's all because of grade.
It's very steep. Okay.
Dave, I don't understand what the value is to retaining those. Don't you own both sides?
Pardon me?
Don't you own both sides of the alley there?
Yes. I own all of block 34 and 35 since 1990. And they just tell me that there's a value there because it is flat, legal fighting, and I'd like to retain it. Like I say, I'll never develop it, but some future developer will because of the location.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else to be heard for or against this public hearing?
I have 3 resolutions for the board, one for each of the 3 vacation items, so you can act on them singularly. Yeah, I think.
So do we want to start with Stoddard? Close the public hearing on that one? Or Morningside Avenue?
What did I make a motion to close which public hearing did it? There was a motion and a second on one of them.
Morningside Avenue? Okay. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Yes. What do you need? We're closing the public hearing on...
Yeah, you don't need 3 separate public
Okay.
hearings. Anyone that wants to speak for or against any of the 3 resolutions can do that.
And that's what's happened.
You do need 3 different resolutions.
Okay. To pass on that when we goes into... okay. The hearing. Okay. Okay. So your motion is legitimate as far as to close the public hearing generally, and the second is legitimate. So is there any further discussion on the closing of the hearing? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, so we'll take item by item here.
The order in which they were presented in the notice, in the public notice, was number 1, the 16-foot alleys in block 44.
Okay.
That one is supported by the Joseph Murray, supporting, who is the executor of the Patrick Murray estate.
Okay, this is on the alleys.
This is the one alley.
One alley.
And this is the one that's exactly right at the south end of Morningside, off Lawn Avenue.
Okay, is there a motion on that vacation?
Move it.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Which is the second one?
Item 2 on the agenda, or on the hearing notice, was all of Stoddard Avenue lying between blocks 34 and 35, and the 16-foot wide alleys within 34 and 35 of Morningside 2nd. That would be on the second sheet, so that would be the...
That's all one motion.
That's all one motion, but if you chose to, we could scratch Stoddard Avenue. That would be up to the board how you want to structure this. I would correct the language as we submit it for the minutes.
Yeah, let's do the 3 that's been advertised.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion?
Motion to vacate.
Second.
Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion?
As a developer, I don't know that they draw straight lines anymore.
Okay.
cul-de-sacs.
Yep, right. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Last item.
Last item is all of Morningside Avenue, beginning at the east right-of-way line of Decatur Street, is established by use. Again, we describe the street that way because Decatur does not follow the original plat, and it was never differentiated or purchased as right-of-way, but from our use of over 80 years, we own that right-of-way.
Okay.
Thence east to the east line of Block 34 extended south to the platted south line of Morningside Avenue. Basically, it's a cross-hatched area at the bottom that shows Morningside Avenue on the second plat.
Okay.
Move it.
Second.
One question. Is Wells Avenue still there, or has that been vacated?
Wells Avenue is still on the county books. That one lies, part of that is owned by Julia Culver. There is one additional property there that is not owned by Ms. Culver that contains 2 lots. At this point in time, I haven't taken a look at that area to resolve the issue of whether we can close without landlocking somebody. I talked to Ms. Culver about the future of those streets. She's looking at it with her attorney to determine what they might like to request that the board vacate to further clean up this area.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Does that clean that up?
Yes, it does. The only thing left will be a quick claim deed for you to sign.
Okay. Okay, you have 2 other items here, Mark. The
Yes, I
approval
do.
of underground
we have
utilities.
2 permits to work within the county right-of-way. The first is for Schaller Telephone Company. That was included in your board packet. I recommend approval.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Then you have another underground?
That one, forgive me, that one was last week's, and George, you just missed signing that one.
Oh, okay.
I apologize. This one is Woodbury. I didn't look up when I should have. This one is for Woodbury County REC. We knew that. Primary underground line.
All right.
And I had my papers too badly shuffled.
I'll still move that one.
I recommend approval.
Okay. Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. You want to hand that back
This
to
is
him?
what happens when I'm out of the office on Thursdays and Fridays. The final one is from New Star Pipeline, Kel Anderson. New Star has an anhydrous ammonia pipeline in the area south of Odo. In their inspection this year, they found a problem with a dent and a possible crack in the pipeline. They needed to do emergency repairs. I approved them doing that work last week, but we did not have the opportunity to get the permit on
And they did.
the agenda, so I'm bringing it here today. The time was of the essence in this repair, so that it did not lead to a leak or a serious problem
Okay.
out there.
Is there a motion?
Move it.
Discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay. Mark, you have anything else that good of the order?
See, are we to the hearing of any group? One thing that I did want to mention to the board is we are hosting the Hungry Canyons Alliance meeting this September 5th of 2014. Any board members who are available next Friday would be more than welcome to come down, and we'd appreciate somebody coming and welcoming everybody to Woodbury County. They'll be doing a tour of some of the Hungry Canyons projects that we've done in the southeast part of the county with the smaller amounts of money that are available through Hungry Canyons. Ben Kusler has been doing a lot of work to do projects like drop inlets, smaller outlet control structures that are allowing more work to be done and more land to be protected from erosion for a lot less money than some of the larger projects that we've done on the big bridges within believe he's also getting out to a couple of ones that were actually damaged in our rains on Father's Day weekend, because a couple of those, and I'm thinking ones on Hancock Avenue in particular, had those structures not been present in controlling the grade downstream of bridges, it's entirely possible that the 2-foot grade cut that we saw at that Hunger Canyon structure would have reflected all the way back through the bridge and caused serious damage, if not failure of those structures. So, again, any of you that might be available.
When does that occur?
It's September 5th, and the location is the Odo Community Building.
Oh, no.
There'll be a catered lunch there and then the regular Hungry Canyons meeting. So this one's right in our backyard.
What time?
The reception, or well, I shouldn't say, the initial part of the meeting and the setup for the tour, 9:30 for coffee and rolls, 10 o'clock for the tour until noon, and then the Hungry Canyons meeting runs from noon to 1:30.
So when do you want any representative from the board there?
Anybody that's available to come,
Okay.
if the board chair would be able to come and
Yeah,
make a few
sure.
introductory remarks, that would
Sure can.
definitely be appreciated.
At what time? 9:30?
That would be the best time, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And, you can visit some of your fellow supervisors. We usually get some
Good.
good attendance from...
By other supervisors from other counties? That's
Yes,
great.
we do.
That's good, okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hearing of any individual wishing to make a presentation on the agenda, not on the agenda. Hear of any individual. Seeing none? I don't see anyone else. Woody, go ahead.
I'm Woody Gottberg, and I'm here speaking as president of the Greater Siouxland Press Club today. And what I want to bring is a concern. This is something that I've received several calls on. Probably a couple of you may have too, and other media members likely have also. This last week, there's been a concern from several members of the public that the board was meeting illegally at times. And I wanted to bring that up and address that because I did receive several calls on that. This started last Tuesday when I was working on a story out in Morningside. I got a call saying, you need to come down to this particular restaurant. There's an illegal meeting going on. And it involved 3 supervisors and Mr. Butler. And I was told Mr. Gill was there too, but came to find out that he wasn't sitting with the group of you. And it bothered me in the fact that the first call that I did receive on this was about coming down to so-called catch you in the act red-handed. So as I looked into that, and like I said, I was doing another story. I obviously didn't drop what I was doing to run down there to see if that was going on or not. But in talking to people over the last week, I actually got a couple more calls. And there is, among some people in the public, a concern that even if it's something as seemingly as innocent as you're going out to have lunch together, if you're meeting in a quorum, technically you are violating the state open meetings law. And it's something that I've talked to people in the city of Sioux City about. They're aware of that, and they don't meet for lunch in what would be considered a quorum of 3 council members or more. And I printed out a couple of these. Sometimes I get up to 8 or more of these a week from the city of Sioux City, and this is the public notice they give. If they're going to if there's going to be, say, like the Crescent Park West Side Neighborhood Network, and there's a chance 3 or more council members might attend that, even if it's just coffee with council, they send out a notice that there's a potential for a quorum to be here, and so technically that's a public meeting. So I'm just kind of bringing this up as a concern, not just from me as press club president, but apparently from several members of the public that they don't know if they see 3 of you or more in a setting where it's not advertised as a county meeting, that technically you are violating the open meetings law by 3 or more of you gathering together in one place. So I'm not bringing this as an admonition or anything mean-spirited. There's no agenda behind me bringing this up, other than I wanted to bring it up as it has been a public concern in the last week. And, the fact that, for those of you that are elected officials, you can't legally meet even for lunch without violating the open meetings law. So I just wanted to bring that up, mostly because I received many calls and had several conversations from people about that.
Woody, we're not violating the open meetings law, even the spirit of it. When you go to lunch with someone, you're not conducting business. Now, if you perceive it that way, I can't help that.
Well,
But
I would disagree with you on that.
Let's just use last Tuesday. Jackie, George, and I and Denny had lunch to Milwaukee. Jackie and I had a meeting in Lamar's at 1 o'clock. And we got out of here late, so we went down there and had lunch. There's no business being discussed.
But the public doesn't know that, Larry, and you are violating.
I would defer to our attorney and ask him what.
And he can have a different opinion, but if you go to the Iowa Open Meetings Law Handbook, if you go to the Freedom of Information Act Council, and you look up public elected officials cannot meet publicly in a quorum. And while I understand the spirit of what you're saying, it's three people having lunch together. When the public sees that, they don't know what you're talking about. And I actually had one person say to me, do you think that I'm naive to think no county business is being discussed when the three of them have lunch? They don't know. And it's a big enough concern that several people contacted me about this and are concerned about it. And I can't speak for other media because I haven't taken a poll of how many calls everyone's received or not. But I'm just telling you, this is an issue that's out there. The public perceives it as an illegal meeting. And as press club president, that's why I'm bringing it to your attention.
Well, Woody, I'd heard that maybe that was going to be a concern brought to our attention this morning, and I did check with our county attorney and expressed that this might be a concern. He did do some research for us, and according to the law, 21.2 quote 2, we are not in violation of the open meetings law because we can be together for ministerial situations or for social gatherings. Now, if we wanted to have a secret meeting, we certainly wouldn't have it at the Milwaukee Wiener Shop.
No one's accusing you of having a secret.
I know, but it allows, that section of the code allows us to have social gatherings for lunch or ministerial situations, and it's the code that allows that.
And in cases that is acceptable, for instance, when you have your hot dog feedback in the alley, that's also publicized. And again, there have been cases in other parts of the state where this has been brought up, and there is disagreement as to no, you cannot do this. And so,
well, what we can do in the future, Woody, what we can do in the future, you've handed out a couple of documents here, and we can certainly publish that if we think that we're going to have an afternoon situation, then we can. I will make sure that we publish that we might be going to lunch at the Milwaukee or Chicago Deli or wherever, and the public will know that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And as petty as it sounds, that is.
It's not petty. It's like I said. If we really wanted to have a secret meeting, we probably wouldn't have it at the Chicago Deli or the the Milwaukee Wiener Shop.
I would hope you wouldn't even want to have a secret.
Oh no, we don't, and we don't violate the law by discussing issues and making decisions when we do have lunch together. And we, as you remember, when we had the cafe in the basement of the courthouse, when we took breaks during budget time, we had lunch together in that setting too. For many years, we've done that.
Well, I can only speak to
to now. I know that.
Once. I can't speak that many times you did that because I wasn't there. But again, under the way that many people interpret this, and of course I expect it to be a difference of opinion on it, but under the open meetings law, if you have a quorum or more, technically you're in violation of that.
But according to State Code 21.2, quote, 2, we can do it under ministerial situations and for social gatherings.
I understand, but I wanted to bring this to your attention.
And we're going to face that situation when some of us go to the chamber dinner, upcoming chamber dinner. Those things do occur where we are majority at those specific settings.
But again, those are covered by media every year, and those are publicly advertised events.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference here. That's a public event that media attends, and other members of the public are aware that you're there.
I understand.
Well, I thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
I wanted to bring this to your attention.
Thank you, Woody. I'll just weigh in since I was mentioning that too. We all know perception is very important. It's I don't think it's illegal, but I certainly understand the perception. I personally always strive to be open. I take the feedback, as I do from many citizens, on many different issues. So thank you for coming up here. We have always had a good working relationship with you, Woody, and I guess we will try to be more careful about it, and don't want the public to think that we certainly are trying to violate any open meetings. We have to be very sensitive, and we know it's political season, and even be more sensitive because the criticisms come fast and quick. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I would entertain a motion for us to go into executive session under Iowa Code 21.5